Hey, good morning. Thank you for being on to the eCarrierCheck show. My name is Jared, and we've got Nate on. And we're going to be talking to Juan Moore today at State to State. We're going to be doing some sales calls, and I've got some questions for him on how to grow, what he's doing, and how he's doing it. But I'm also excited to talk to you, Nate. We don't get to catch up a lot, and so I always take today to reflect on your week. I want you to talk about not only your week and what you learned and who you helped, but I also want you to talk about what happened with our company. We're giving back this month. Every subscription goes toward a foundation that I've got that's near and dear to my heart. So, Nate, give us a rundown here. I want to hear from you.
Most definitely, man. Great week. Juan's here today because him and I had a really good chat, and it's always chatting about shippers. How do we get shippers? So that's basically been the last 3 weeks of my life, is how we can get some shippers. And I was really interested in Juan and how he went about his journey. So I'm really glad to have him on here today. But yeah, it's been a good week. And we're also very blessed to be able to give a part of our subscriptions this month to breast cancer awareness.
Yeah, something I've always been a part of is, the companies I've worked for have always been a big believer in just giving back. How do we give back? How do we, help other people that need help? Not only in our space, in the trucking space, but in general in the community. And so we're giving back to Festival of Hope. It's a nonprofit foundation here locally that helps families as they've got parents or loved ones that are going through breast cancer. And we've obviously seen it. We had one of our employees is actually, his wife went through this. It was kind of a rough 9 months. She is over it, and which is awesome, but it was rough. You never know, right? The first thing you think of is, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Right. It's hard to control your mind. And that's something that they do at Festival of Hope, is they really help with counseling. They help with controlling that mindset. They help with support. And sometimes that's what you need.
For sure. 100%.
You know what I mean? You just need people around you to support you.
Right.
So, Juan, I'm super jacked to get into it with you and start talking. Obviously you wore a pink shirt, for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I appreciate that.
For sure.
But welcome, man. Juan, tell us your story. We want to hear from you. We want to know. We want to introduce you to the world, and we want to hear what's going on. For those of you watching, hello. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're on.
Yeah.
So Juan, tell us your story.
Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, my name is Juan Moore. I've been in the freight brokering industry since 2019. I studied locally in Indianapolis. Went to college here. My degree is in construction management with a specialty in computer drafting and design. And I did, when I entered into the industry, guys, it was just new. Carriers were coming to me at the time, telling me about their issues, and which are plentiful. However, with that, it interested me on moving forward and doing some diligence, and I ended up, doing my research and found that it would be the many challenges that were there they sparked my attention. And so moving forward, here we are in 2022, and business is growing rapidly in many areas that I didn't even put on my business plan. So, which is good. I'm not complaining about that. But yeah, it's more of a thing to where, it's fun for me because it keeps me busy, keeps my mind racing on finding solutions that are much needed to be found in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Juan, you say something that kind of rings a bell. It's kind of funny. So when we first started the brokerage, and probably 6 months to a year behind when we actually started it, we're writing a business plan and we're talking about who our potential customers are. And it's funny, I found that document the other day, and you got to think I wrote that in 2016 or so. And I look at that, and at the prospective clients, I should post this online because it's really funny. And everybody that I listed that I was like, okay, these are people we're going to be calling, Literally none of those people ended up being our clients. And we ended up just transitioning over. All of our work is, all of that work, at that particular brokerage was all flatbed, open deck, heavy haul. And when we first started, the business plan was, let's get into the reefer space. Let's get into the van space. So it's funny how things just turn and you're like, oh, well, this works. I guess we'll stay here.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I feel because one of the things that we were, I would say we as a community that we're introduced to right away for the more seasoned veterans in the game, if you will, they say, hey, you got to find your niche. You got to find your niche. And that's a big elephant to bite on. Because it's so many different areas. Nate and I was talking yesterday. There's so many different areas that you can broker. A lot of the attention is on freight, from supply chains, if you will, or building materials, from the big commercial distributors. But man, I mean, you have dump trucks, you have, all kinds of other brokering aspects, and that's just on property, not alone household goods, so it's just really one of those things where I'm definitely going to jump on the bandwagon with that, Jared. When we started the company, it was 2 years before we moved forward and actually going through the process of getting our authority, because it was just so much information, and we're still learning today on how to be valuable to the industry. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And two, none of the carriers that we were targeting at the time of startup, in the businesses that we were targeting, man, we're not doing any of those at this time. Any of those. So you can put it right here, sweetheart. And so, it's more of those things where, none of the business that I really think that we have to, if you're being diligent and you're working hard, I feel that, and I can testify, and it's not even a feeling, I can testify that the niche finds you. Just put yourself out there, let people know what you're doing, and whatever energy that you're projecting is going to come back to you. And so I was telling Nate today, we went into, today and yesterday, we went into, we were found that building, working with construction companies and things of that nature, was our niche. And it kind of made sense, being that my background is in construction, but I didn't think, I think outside the box, you know what I'm saying? But that's one of the things, like, I didn't have to do that this time. It was, I already brought in all of the tools necessary to, better that community. So why not? And so, that's, you just have to stay open. You have to keep your ears open, eyes open for the opportunities, because they're plenty. They're plentiful.
Oh, yeah. There's so much. I love Tyreke. Brian, one of our longtime watchers, says, my niche is trying to make money. Brian's a driver. One of my favorites, to be honest with you. He just took a local contract. Wasn't sure how that's working. I'd love to hear how that's going, Brian, as far as from that. Juan, I would love to kind of break down some sales stuff with you. Obviously, we're going to make a couple calls today, but I'd like to know, talk to me about strategy. How are follow-ups? What's your research look like? Give us a rundown of what that looks like for you, that you've probably replicated to continue to find success. What does that look like?
Wow. It really goes on to get a strategy. I feel that you have to have a day-to-day agenda, a day-to-day, like for the whole entire week, and not just Monday through Friday, but Monday through Sunday. You know what I mean? You really have to, Saturday for me is to decompress on Monday through Friday and get whatever administrative things that are lingering that had indirectly nothing to do with the operation from Monday through Friday. And then on Sunday, I'll usually kick back and just step away from everything, just to, clear my mind and, recollect, make sure I didn't miss anything, and to see if I should implement anything for the upcoming week. So it never stops. It's just a matter of having that agenda to know, today I'm going to contact my carriers. Tomorrow I'm going to contact my shippers. Wednesday I'm going to register new carriers into the registry. Thursday I'm going to follow up with my shippers that I haven't done loads with to make sure that we're still good. We're in the front, forefront of their mind, and life is good. Building that, building the rapport, that's huge.
Yeah.
You have to build that rapport. Friday, we have to, let's end the week with a bang. Let's go ham on everything. Let's do a mixture of what you're feeling is going to be, the best. You know what I'm saying? Trying to have a day to where it's not really on script. You just kind of feel it out. Those days are fun. It keeps the fun for me. Because being a broker can be monotonous and draining. It really can. So, but you have to have thick skin. You got to have a game plan. Like, Jared's digging in. You have to have a game plan, and you have to stay at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have to stay at it, because as good as I am, I was telling Nate yesterday, man, listen, I can sell water to a well, but if I don't have the well to sell the water to, I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? And so, and that's one of the things that, new brokers have. The problem is, oh my God, where are my shippers? How do you get shippers? Oh my God. I mean, we're really thinking about assisting the new brokers and helping them with the list. Only the catch has to be, you have to have a target. You have to have a target market. And I'm not just talking about telling me you want a supply chain. I need specifics, because otherwise you're just going to be philandering around with no, okay. So let's say you do a major named retailer. Since they're not paying for this episode, I won't say any names specifically.
Yeah.
Let's say you pick a name, you know what I mean? Well, okay, cool. Now we got something to work with. I can get the names of the parties or whatnot that you need to talk to and their titles. I can do all that for you. However, what relatable experience do you have when you're talking, when you do get them on the phone?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You have to have some commonality there. If you don't have no commonality, no camaraderie, no reference points to go for, listen, I'm not going to call a grocery distributor and act like I know anything that they do outside of, I do have some experience at a shipper, major shipper company. So I understand loading of the trailers and things of that nature when I was in school. So that does come back. I didn't think come back full circle for me to be able to look, come up with dimensions and of the pallet. Who cared? But I care now, so things like that. But yeah, man, you have to have, that's, and if I was going to throw a secret out there to the newbies, listen, if you can't relate to your shipper, don't call them, because you're wasting your time, and you're definitely going to be wasting theirs, and you're going to be encouraging them to say no, which is the inertia question, the inertia answer that Nate and I was talking about yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we talked about how to work a lead, and these leads are provided for you. You always have to put in some effort or some little bit of work, right? I mean, I wish eCarrierCheck or even you had a magic wand to to have, oh, the shipper needs us today, but you nailed it on the head yesterday. You get a shipper, keep in touch with them. Make sure you stay in touch with them. Well, maybe it's once a month or whatever it may be, but that's one thing I really like about you, man. We all had to start somewhere, right? In your very first day in the industry, I'm sure you probably felt like giving up sometimes. And you're living proof that if you just continue to make your calls, pick up the phone, hard work, like you said yesterday, your next call could have been that moneymaker. Like, don't give up. So
yeah,
I really appreciate that.
The other thing I was going to mention that I think is really important, and you talked over it, but I think this is something to break down for just a second, is you really truly have to have a plan in this industry. You've got to write down your list. Yeah. You've got to take time to be more intentional with your time. Brian says, I speak whale, which I think is kind of a funny, relatable function. But you've got to plan out your week. You've got to plan out your day, because what happens in this industry is you just kind of float with the wind if you don't. And you will definitely forget things. You won't be intentional. You've got to make sure that you're compounding your work ethic or workflow every day. And the only way you're going to do that is by staying on track. And so, Juan, I love that you mentioned having that aspect. I think that's big. The other thing that I want to mention that you said, you just really threw out a lot of value there, is if you can't relate to the shipper, don't call them. Boy, I tell you what, there is something to be said about there's something to be said about that. Juan, you and I could probably make calls till the cows come home. But if I can't say that, if there's not something that I can immediately build trust with in less than 7 seconds,
yikes.
Why? And so I think it's important that you do speak whale, that you can relate to shippers. You take advantage of your background or your experience, and if you don't have experience, then you need to start to get experience by calling carriers, by calling brokers, by calling shippers, and exposing yourself to some of those exploratory conversations.
Well said. Yeah, well said.
So, Juan, I love that. I definitely want to get into some calls. I want to hear the magic come out of your mouth, man. Juan, I'm super jacked for that. So let's talk about who. You don't necessarily need to tell us who you're calling, but talk about maybe why. Nate, I need one of those hoodies. I know. Honestly, if you guys just real quick for anybody watching, drop your email in the comments. We'll send you some bags. We just got some bags in. We're working on getting some swag at eCarrierCheck. We'll keep you posted on that. But we did get some bags, so drop your email in there. We'll reach out to you, get your address, and shoot you out a bag. We appreciate everybody watching. Obviously, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's something that we take a lot of pride in providing value.
For sure.
Back to Juan, though. Juan, who'd you pick? Don't tell us the name, but like, why did you pick them? And then talk about who you're calling. How'd you figure out who to call? And kind of walk us through. And then let's make some calls. Let's see how this goes today.
Cool. Let's see. So we are picking. Like I said, I'm sticking with my niche on what I know well. And so I am contacting some contractors that need some assistance. One that I'm going to contact is they need some help coming up. And that's, I was telling Nate today that we've ventured into the spot market. Listen, I would not recommend that. So I would recommend for a new broker to take a look, but don't engage. Don't engage, because it's so much to learn. You have to be able to get information at a rapid fire pace, and you have to be able to have your conversation on point. And when I say on point, I mean you have to, Jared hit on the subject where you got to know what you're talking about, and listen, time is of the essence. So you have to have all the information, to you new brokers that are scouring through YouTube like it's going out of style. Listen, take all that data. And one tip that I was given when I was working on my business plan, because I'm one that did not believe in one, because I'm like, I didn't like to put down fictitious things like made up numbers and things of that nature. And then once I started understanding it, I was like, well, I would be the exact author to put one together because
Right.
I don't like fictitious numbers. So all of the information that I would put in, that's in the business plan are factual. It's things that I'm experiencing. So we use our business plan as our journal. It's our daily journal. It's our diary, and we reflect on it immensely. And listen, to finish one. If you're done with the business plan, then go back and look over it, because I can guarantee you it's like a website. You will be making some updates for sure.
Yeah.
You got to think of when we put it together. We put it together at the very beginning stages of when we were thinking that maybe possibly we would be doing this and that. You know what I mean? And now, as you said, all the carriers, the customers, our customers, I'm not using any of them. It's a completely different, what I'm saying? It's a completely different market than what I thought I was going to be doing. And so thankfully I waited a little longer to put mine together. And I'm really thankful that I did, because I've been livid to go back and do what I'm suggesting those that have finished one to do, to go back and redo it. But it's like I said, it's a journal. It's never ending. You're always going to be making updates if you are adamant about improving yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things to make the calls that we're about to make. You have to have something in you that's motivating you to make the call. You know what I mean? Even though this call is going to be it's going to be more lukewarm than cold.
Sure.
Listen, you have to have a desire to make the call. You have to crave to want to help the end user of the call. You have to have that, because, if you're determined to help them make it better, that's going to resonate in the call. It's going to resonate in your tone when you're talking to them. It's going to allow your pace, the speed of your words to slow down and emphasize the words that are going to help that shipper versus, hey, my name is, Juan, I want to help you. What? You know what I mean? Like, no, like, dude, you gotta have some, you use your personality. I'm not going to be able to make a call like Jared. I'm not going to be able to make a call like Nate, but I will definitely be able to make a call like Juan. You know what I'm saying? And so that's all I'm saying. Those are the unspoken tangibles that you must have to make a call, or don't make it.
Yeah, I think you said two things, just to kind of unpack two things real quick, and then I'll let you make some calls. But I think two things that are really important when you're making calls. First off is mindset. You're not making a cold call. You're calling somebody to try to help them. You have to have that mindset that this is going to help somebody, down the road. What you offer as your service, whether you're a dispatcher, carrier, or broker, doesn't matter. When you pick up that phone, you got to remember you have something to offer them. And you have to have that. On a deeper level, though, Juan, and I think this is really important for you guys to hear and break down, is you really need to identify why you are actually making these calls. We talk about this and break this down quite often. And the reason why I'm sitting on this couch today, right now, trying to sell our software and trying to help people out and provide value is my family. That's my why. I want to be able to help my family. I want to be able to go out and do that. And I'm going to grind every day because I love my family. You know what I mean? And I want to get it. Yep. You know what I mean? And so I want to come to the table with that and just say, hey, this is why I need to pick up this damn thing every day. Yep. and make somebody else's life, a difference. And so that's probably my biggest thing. And I think it's the sooner you get to your why internally right here, it's better. You know what I mean? You can feel it. You can just grab it and go, you know what? I'm not picking up my phone right now for me. I'm picking it up because I want to help my family. I want to get a new car. I need to pay for my mortgage. Whatever it is, you got to find your why, and you need to identify it sooner than later, because that's an important factor. So exactly, fear of not being able to provide. Exactly. So that's what you got to have. So sorry for the rant there, Juan, but I love that you mentioned, your why, your mindset, and it's important that we break those things down, because if you can't identify it, something I do with my kids all the time is having them understand and helping them understand how to identify emotions. Right. And if we sit around and I ask them all the time, I said, how did that make you feel? What emotion, if you described it, was that? Were you scared? Were you happy? Were you excited? Right. And I think you've got to be able to understand and identify those emotions that come along with your life and with business and just things. Right. Because the sooner you can identify them, the sooner you can kind of understand how to manage them as well. Anxiety, stress, whatever it is. Right. So, Juan, let's hear some calls, man. Let's do this. I'm super jacked.
This is cool. I would think that the viewers would be like, man, when we get into the calls, listen, everything that we're talking about leads up to the phone call. If you don't go through this exercise, this stretching moment here, we're stretching our brain, we're breathing, getting the juices flowing, getting that adrenaline pump. You have to have some type of excitement going on. And, again, you recollecting, as Jared said, you're finding your why. Why am I going to make this call? Yeah, you're going to make the call to get a shipper to work with you, but why are you making the call? How is your service? Because there's many brokers out there. How is your service going to be better than the next guy that calls them? And so the why has to be, you have to have that why, that desire to, in order to even get to this part of making a phone call, man. Otherwise, it's just going to be a lost hope.
Hey, Juan, real quick before you pick up that phone, we have a question that came from one of our from Brian, actually. He says he said, and you got to remember, Juan, he's a small carrier. Okay. He's in the truck. He's in his own truck. He goes, what can make a small carrier stand out? We all strive to get the load delivered on time, deliver the load the way it left the shipper. What is it that he can do to stand out? Because this is a great question that a lot of owner operators, a lot of small carriers, it's tough to get into a shipper. Not everybody's in sales. Not everybody can talk. Not everybody wants to talk. But what can he do today to make things a little different?
I would definitely say here's a plug, go to www.state-to-state-freightbrokers.com and put your information in there. You have to, and I was serious about that. The thing is, for new carriers, I actually love working with new carriers, especially because a lot of times, for brokers will get, and I'm one that I like to step back and remember where I came from. And, because at some point I was new to this, and, all of the scarcities out there, do you have credit and this and that, and who have you worked with and who's your references? Man, all of that's baloney. This isn't a job interview. You're up here trying to provide a service, and all you have to do is be confident in the software, confident in the technology that you have adopted that works for you. Plug eCarrier, get that today. You have to understand the software, but then not only that, you have to be comfortable at using it. And once you feel good about utilizing your softwares that you have, that you're going to be using to help your carrier, help your shipper, then I would say that's when you can turn around and make this phone call. Otherwise, but in saying that, I would, for a new carrier, just some carriers have new authorities. However, the person that has the authority, they've been driving for a long time. So in that regard, I would suggest to a new carrier to, when you get the opportunity to talk to a shipper, when you get the opportunity to talk to a broker, let us know how long you have been driving. Give us your snapshot. You know what I mean? Because we're looking at yours, trust and believe that. So what you want to do is let us know what we don't see on paper. I see you're less than 3 months as a carrier, but how much experience do you have driving? I need to know that, because now I can make an exception before I send out my invite to you. And I don't even send out an invite, guys. That's one thing I don't do. I like to talk to my carriers before I send them an invite, because that's, I pay money for that software for me to have a more streamlined process for my carriers to get on board with us. And so I have it screening. And so one of the things are in my screening process, you have to be 6 months or more as far as our seasoned authority. Do I have carriers in my registry that are less than 6 months? Absolutely. Why? Because they have 10 years driving experience. I have one that has 21 years of driving experience, and he has a new carrier. He has a new carrier authority. You follow what I'm saying? So make the call and talk to your broker and shipper. And, we ask you, how long have you been? I don't have to ask. I'm going to tell you, you have this amount of time in your carrier authority. What's the deal? Do you have experience? What kind of experience do you have? You know what I mean? Yeah. And so just be ready for the questions, but we're open to take new carriers for sure.
Yeah. I think something that's really interesting, by the way, Brian, just to kind of, obviously Juan kind of notated on, from a broker standpoint, what can make you stand out as a stall carrier. I think something that's really interesting as I talk to shippers, as I talk to a lot of different people through the week is, if you have clean equipment, if you take pride in your equipment and it's clean and it looks good and it's in quality shape, that's a big deal. I want to see you show up to a shipper and you look good. I'm not talking you have to be chromed out to the hills, right? Although if you are, I'm down. I love that. But I'm just talking about just showing up and taking pride. Boy, that's half the battle. You know what I mean? Like, just to show up and look good. You look good, you feel good, you play good. I tell my kids that every Saturday before soccer. And it's just one of those things that you got to do that. We had a couple more questions come in, Juan, that I really want to throw at you.
Absolutely.
Brian's been 2 years and 8 years of driving. Yeah, Brian's a quality guy. I love this guy. Lives Good Newer says, hey, I'm a new broker. Haven't started yet. Tell us mistakes to watch out for, as a new broker. Maybe just give, what are the top 2 things that a new broker should avoid? And I'm sure you've got some scars that you hit on. I know I do, but what are a couple things that you really need to avoid, when it comes to being a new broker?
One of the top ones that I would say as a new broker to watch for. One of the things that's coming to my mind is do your homework. That's what you need to watch for. Do your homework. You're as a broker, like, you have so many, it really depends on how it comes to you. Let's say a load comes to you and it's out of the scope of what you were initially thinking that you were going to be brokering. Well, do some homework. And when I say do homework, outside of Google, make some calls. Call carriers that you are in your group. Listen, you can have the best idea, the best company, the best strategy ever, but if you're not putting yourself in front of the masses to let them know that you have an answer for the cure, what are you doing? What are you doing? So I said that to say, put your question, put a question. I just did a question. I did a post yesterday because I had a load that was burning me up. And this is what actually this was a new one because the way I move as far as with business, my shipments are more scheduled. I have time to get the parties all on board because the shipment is not going to happen. The carrier is not needed for a month, so however, I wanted to spice some things up, which I was successful at. Now I do spot freight also. Now tell me something. Now listen. So in that, I moved forward and I asked my group of carriers. I have a group that I'm in, and I just plugged the all the specs of the shipment out there just to get some feedback from the masses. Like, what would you guys take this for this amount? Da da da. And listen, if you want, so that's what I would do. Yeah, you can go on YouTube and stuff like that. But listen, if you don't have a mentor or, an e-carrier that you can go to and enjoy their live segments with real live boots on the ground, listen, yeah, I'll mentor you. And actually, I have began to mentor some because I feel that one of the mentorees that I had the other day was saying he wished this is different because when he became a broker, he was like going into corporate America on your first day, you have a supervisor or someone that's assigned to you that says, okay, Jared, and they come follow me. I'm going to show you the ins and outs of what's going on of how we do business here. Oh, you got to spot freight this pork. And it's going to where? Florida. From where? Nebraska. Ooh, okay, this is what you want to do. Before you even commit to that, make some calls to find out if the carrier even hauls pork. Because some, because of their religion, and I was telling Nate earlier, they won't transport pork or beer. So those are some of the nuances that you won't get as a new broker, but those that are watching now, guess what? I've just saved you about a day of frustration. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So, that is clear, that's something there. Just to, join some groups so that you can have some that you can talk to or, adopt a mentor, that you can bounce questions off of once a week. I have one mentoree that I've done only 2 sessions with, and she's capitalized a major, huge food chain. Huge. And I didn't even have to give her the list, guys. All I did was told her the proper steps to take when she called them. Less than 2 weeks later, she landed them, man. It's all about having a mentor that understands. And listen, that's not my target market at all. However, I understand what needs to go on for you to secure the shipper, So now the next phase, new brokers understand this. There's a difference. I was talking to Nate about this yesterday. There's a difference between securing a shipper and securing a load. There's a two totally different things. Listen, I don't want to put air out of your balloon and still be happy and feel victorious about securing your shipper. But listen, it's just you have the bragging rights that you have a shipper, but until you start moving those loads, that's when the actual win of the battle of war is when you actually start shipping when they start shipping with you.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
That's something that's not talked about a lot.
Yeah. I think the other thing too, as far as things that they need to watch for, as far as mistakes, really pay attention to detail. Maybe it's the weight of the truck, the weight of the load, the shipment details, when they close. If you're doing flatbed work, good Lord, I don't know how many friggin' times I was like, oh shoot, that was 60 foot, and I didn't realize it until the carrier got there. You only make that mistake once, I'll tell you that.
Unacceptable. That
You know,
that as a broker,
yeah,
I listen. I'm glad you brought that up, Jared. You will not make that mistake if you are not cutting corners. You
yep,
will only make that mistake if you get it's real on the same wavelength as when um the former heavyweight champ Mike Tyson said in an interview, every fighter has a game plan until they get punched in the mouth.
yeah.
When you get punched in the mouth,
Oh
brokers,
man,
don't cut corners. Stick with the game plan, and you will not make devastating mistakes that some of us have made coming in.
oh yeah,
So, the idea of these e-videos that eCarrier is sharing with the community, we're wanting to save you the trouble, the frustration, the time lost, because you can't get that time back. Listen, at the end of the day, the most precious commodity that we're brokering is time. That is the most precious commodity that you're ever going to transport.
yeah.
Okay. And listen, eCarrier is going to be very significant at getting you that time that you would typically lose back
Oh
finding
yeah,
carriers, and with the caveat of finding shippers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Juan, you hit it on the head, man. Abdul was kind of mentioning, he found my email. Thanks for being here, Abdul. Yeah, if you ever need some mentoring or coaching or consulting, Tire Killer headed on the head too. Shaggy Consulting. I'm definitely here to help you. And of course, eCarrierCheck is always here to help too as well. And we'll source you some shippers. So get signed up for a demo. I got a little banner going across the bottom. Just go to eCarrierCheck.com and sign up for a demo.
Absolutely. Juan, let's make a call,
Yeah,
man. Let's
do
I
it.
know we've been talking for a while. Let's make a couple calls and see where they go. Hopefully we get a little Friday luck on us.
Yeah.
And let's roll. Let's see it.
Yeah. Thanks for everyone being here this morning too.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
appreciate it. I'm still excited while Juan's kind of loading up and getting ready to shoot here. I still can't tell you guys enough how excited I am for. Oh, here we go. Juan's got it. Juan's calling. Here we go.
Yeah, I'll call him back here. That's my guy. I need to. Okay, so that call. Here's one of the things once you get through the gatekeeper and you actually make the contact with the shipper. This is important for new brokers and seasoned. Don't take no as the final answer. You have to really be persistent. One of the things that I learned in just sales that I brought over here is being callous. You have to have a short memory, if you will. Being in sports, you learn that very quickly when you're good. You have to, it's all about this play. And then we'll get to the next play. Forget about the last one. Unless it worked, then you go ahead and use that again.
That's fair.
But yeah, so this shipper, we have camaraderie, obviously, from my background and one of the groups that I'm in. He is needing a specialty trailer. He needs a low boy. And not only does he need a low boy, he needs it for 3 consecutive days. Well, he did his own calling prior to state giving him a call. And the carrier gave him a really low ball rate. Well, in the conversation, when I talk to all of my shippers, I immediately get my notepad out and I am typing away everything that's being said so that I can reflect it when it's my turn, reflect on it when it's my turn to either use it as a sales point, a sales tool, use it as a pain point. Yes, you new brokers, you'll hear about that a lot, but you should have heard about that if you're in sales at all or finding the customer's pain points. Those are the, just really, anything that is going to drive the customer towards your direction to making a move. Well, with that being said, with this shipper, I believe we're going to be able to bag them for this upcoming project that he has, because one of the things that he mentioned was when I presented it to him, because he was like, okay, so for your service, we're gonna have to pay up front. I said, yeah, we can pay up. You can pay up front. I said, how are you used to paying? He said, yeah, I'm used to paying up front. I said, okay, well, I have an option to where you could pay in 15. We could do like a net 30 if you needed to do that, if that would be more convenient for you. He's like, you can do that? You know what I mean? So listen, at some point, new brokers, you got to put your sales hat on. And one tip that should be very fundamental in any salesman is you have to ask for the close. You have to ask for the sale. And in doing that, you always be closing, always be selling. And so in that regard, this next phone call is going to be us presenting him with the option of net 30.
Okay.
I got him. So what I did was, after the phone call, new brokers, here's another thing. What should I do? Okay, listen. When you secure a shipper, we back this shipper. I'm trying to get on his next shipment. So you want to prepare. You want to prep. Our job as a broker is to foresee. We're like the foreman on a work site. We seeing everything. So in that, work ahead, to work smart, not hard, pretty much. So what I did was, when I got off the phone, that conversation, I contacted my bank, some factoring company, whoever. Listen, for a new broker, I don't really care how much money you have. If you were able to, get your BC 85 versus your 84, listen, get a factoring company, definitely for the first year or two, maybe just have one on deck. They're a credit card. Why use your own money when you can have them to foot the bill to free up? Because now on our whiteboard in the office is working capital. I want more of it. And so in that regard, that's why we're, now entertaining mentorship. And that's why we're entertaining now helping the new brokers secure their shippers, or at least get them the contact information, because it sounds like that's real obscure. Like, I found the company, I found the name, but I can't get past the gatekeeper because they want to know who I need to speak to. I don't know. The facility manager, the transportation manager, the shipping manager, they listen, depending on what industry you in, oh my God, they have titles that they've made up that I don't even, what is listen, I've heard some titles that I can't even remember because they were so foreign to me. You know what I mean? Like, they were so
good.
And so in that regard, listen, you got to have a name. If you don't have a name to ask for and they don't recognize that name, because you can't just say, hey, because I had my marketing director, he was like, well, because he's real sharp or whatnot with techie. He's techie sharp. And he was like, well, I just make up a name. I'm like, Kristen, you can't do that. not over here in these neck of the woods. You know, the gatekeepers are smart, and they like, you know, they know who's on the roster. And if you get to saying when they meet Sally, they're like, well, we don't have a Sally that works here. You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do then? You can't, you know, come on. So that's what we, you know, we now providing that service also to help you, you know, get a name to speak with, you know, cool. Anything I can do. Listen, I want to, you know, what's going to make your service stand out amongst the rest? You know, you have to keep that in the forefront of your mind. So in that regard, listen, I know when I get in touch with Andy, it's going to be a done deal. Another thing, new brokers. This is one thing that I did learn when I was scouring through my YouTube channels and fumbling on eCarrier. Please, for the love of God, if you don't know your DOT, because that's not asked a lot, know your MC number by heart. Please, for the love of all things holy, know your MC number by heart. It makes you look so much more professional when it's asked upon you what it is. You know, what's your MC? Let me hold on just a minute. No, I ain't got time. You're too new. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind working with newbies, but you're too new. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you know, would you want a brand new, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's like, you got to have the fundamental home training. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know, you don't have the know-it-all to have the fundamental knowledge of what's important, man, you know, anything you do, all the programs you buy, all the shaggy weeks that you'll go to will not mean anything because you're not going to apply the fundamental basics.
Exactly.
I'm not, why are you going to build, it goes to, are you going to build your house on the sand or build your house on solid ground? You know, and so these fundamentals that we're sharing with you, they're as rich as I would have wanted them to be when I was taking time out of my busy schedule to watch these type of videos. Give me some information that I can apply the moment I'm done watching this, and not until I sign up with you and pay $1,000 or $500 here, $300 here, $1,500 there, just to still come unsatisfied. You know what I mean? Give me something that I can take right now on this video that will improve my business, that will improve my mental, to move forward, to want to have the motivation to pick this format as the means to support my family. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Juan, you're for sure right, man. You're for sure right. You're spitting facts like you did yesterday, man. Just applying what you learn and what you've gone through is very important. You know, you don't know until you do it. That's the big thing with this industry. But I think we have time for like one or two more calls.
Let's do one more call.
Let's do that. And thanks for everyone that's with us today. Still, really appreciate you. If you want some swag, drop your emails in the chat, and I'll get in touch with you later this afternoon and get your address, and I'll send you some swag. And Juan, while you're finding that ship over there, for those of you that are just newer, whether you found us by email or just on YouTube, we try to go live every Friday. Actually, we do. If we change it up, we might be on a Thursday. So subscribe to us, turn those notifications on. Get those notifications from us. We do demos 3 times a week, Q&As on Wednesdays. So we're pretty intimate with our community around here. So sign up for a demo for sure and check us out, and let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you find that number, Juan?
Yeah, I'm getting it now.
Mhm.
Also, just to reflect too, I know Juan's getting ready to make a phone call. Every subscription this month, doesn't matter if you've been subscribed to us for months, years, or even just subscribe to us this month. Every subscription is going to have the opportunity to be a part of our community and give back this month to a local foundation called what are they called? Their Festival of Hope. Yep. I dropped my mind, but we'll be actually donating part of your subscription back to Festival of Hope this month. So you're a part of that. You're helping us. You're helping a family that needs it right there. So I'm super excited about that. You'll hear us seeing that all month long here as we continue to grow. Natalie asked a question. She said, "Hey, I'm just struggling getting past. How do you motivate the gatekeeper to let you in?" I find that such an interesting question. Rob actually responded back to this and said, "Act like you don't care. They are the gatekeeper. Be confident and natural." I think that's really good advice, Rob. I love that you say that. Yep. People can hear it in your voice. Here we go. Here's one.
Yeah, normally I call up until this time because we're being in Indianapolis, we're on Eastern Standard, and we have come upon lunchtime.
Yeah, it's fair.
But hold on, let me try one more though, because I need to speak with them anyway.
Okay, that sounds good.
Try one more.
Natalie, we have so many ideas on how you can kind of get through that or work.
Yeah, we should have a show on this.
Yeah, we should have it. We should maybe make that our next one.
What was her question?
She's how do you motivate the gatekeepers to let you in?
Mm-hmm.
We touched on that. I think she came. She must have came on a little bit later than when we were touching on that, Jared.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things to where you really need to know who you're asking for. If you don't have a name, Natalie, forget about it. You're not going to get through that gatekeeper. When I first started, that gatekeeper. Listen, oh my God, I had one that they were like a Fort Knox gatekeeper. Like, oh my God, like it was, oh my gosh. The location that you were calling was in New York, and and it's the center for all of the calls around the country goes to that switchboard. And listen, if you don't have a name,
forget it.
Forget about it. Yeah. So what I did was I moved forward and I took that understanding and I applied it to the smaller shippers and has had great success, because on a smaller shipper, they don't have the gatekeeper like that.
I don't know if you could. Juan, I don't know if you see
Janice.
Oh, here we go.
Janice. Okay. I figured so. I was just trying to take a stab at it, but tell Janice that Juan in Indianapolis called, and I'll call her back because I was just trying to get some more information on the demo that we're going to be working on out at the job site location. I'm with the airport authority. So just give me what time will she be back, huh?
Back at about 12:40.
Oh, okay. I'll call back a little later this afternoon to speak with her. Who is this?
My name is Tori.
Tori, all right. How you doing today? You happy it's Friday? I am.
Yes, I
am. I know that's right. Well, hey, Tori, thank you so much. And yeah, let her know I called and I'll call back, okay?
All right, will do.
All righty. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Juan, I got to tell you, I have enjoyed today so much.
Yeah, me too.
You've shared so much content. You've given just so much value today, and I can't thank you enough for that. We are going to wrap up today. I think we have you back for part 2 and do some more calls, some more talking. And honestly, Juan, I got to say, thank you for being on. Thank you for
Right.
being you.
Yeah.
And just giving back today, because you really did that. Juan, how do people get in touch with you? What do they do to either find you, email you, text you, tweet you, TikTok you, whatever it is? How do people get in touch with you, man? Because honestly, we've had a huge crowd today, and they want to hear more from you. So where we hear from you?
So you get in touch with me at www.state-to-state-freightbrokers.com, and you can request for our email is on the site. You can request to become a shipper. You can request to become a carrier, or if you want mentorship or assistance on more detail of what Jared and Nate and I have gone over. Just go to the website and just make it real simple. I appreciate you guys. First off, that you have seen a need, and you have not been timid on moving forward and making this happen. Guys, you have been a blessing to my business. I'm about to tear up. Really, you've been a real blessing to my business, man. It gave me, it solidified my calling. It really did. It gave me the confidence that I needed to move forward and make this thing happen, man. And look at me now. I don't even think I've been using you guys for more than 2 months, and the success I've had because of the eCarrier, priceless. And all the new things that you guys are going to be coming out with and everything, man. Oh my God, let me tell you, I am very thankful that I found you, you found me, and we're looking forward to a very prosperous partnership with you guys. I really am happy that you guys have came along on our venture, because you have been very, very solid piece to this great big old V8 Hemi that we got over here, man. It has definitely added some horsepower to it. So I appreciate you guys. Really. That's
Absolutely. Juan, thank you. I appreciate you being on, man. Mia, I see your question. I think that's a wonderful subject for a call. Can you do a role play? I think we'll do that. Juan, have a great weekend.
Definitely.
Thank you for everybody being on. Remember, we don't necessarily advertise. It's all word of mouth. It's all subscriptions to our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel. Definitely just take the time to like something, comment on something, because that's how we grow. We're not VC funded here, folks. This is Nate and I climbing up the ladder every day.
That's right.
So,
aren't we all? Thank you guys for having me on. Thank you everybody that attended. Reach out. I'll be glad to assist. And in the meantime, eCarrier, you guys rock. You guys
cool,
rock.
man.
Thank you,
Thanks,
man.
man.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Thank you.